I spoke last video about the Supreme Court's cake decision, about how despite deciding in favor of the baker, that case was really only decided in the favor of this one particular baker, based on technicalities with the specific behavior of the state of Colorado. So in terms of the broad questions of principle within that case, we really didn't get any answers. There's no more meaningful Supreme Court precedent set after this case than there was before it. This is a victory for this baker and this baker only. The dispute about the big issues continues. The court didn't say that Colorado's anti-discrimination law is unconstitutional. The court didn't say that any law banning anti-gay discrimination in a place of business would be unconstitutional. But still, we have plenty of people eager to spin a narrative that this decision is some type of emboldenment or legitimization for people who just want to punish the gays. And as evidence, this story was circulating and trending on Twitter this week under the tag "No Gays Allowed." It's a story about a shop in eastern Tennessee called Amix Hardware, owned and operated by a man named Jeff Amix. Amix famously put up a "No Gays Allowed" sign in his shop following the 2015 gay marriage Supreme Court decision. He replaced that sign temporarily with a new one that read, "We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone who would violate our rights to freedom of speech and freedom of religion." Amix has since returned to the original "No Gays Allowed" sign over the past 3 years, including this week after the Supreme Court's cake decision. Inside his shop, Amix also displays a sign on his countertop that says "Choose God or Gays." Seeing this story trending on Twitter, I knew I had to check out the hottest blue check takes. Well, that didn't take long. This is the real harm that Justice Kennedy hath wrought. Yeah, it was so quick, it actually happened 3 years before Kennedy's ruling, but to the point. The harm in this case is being turned away from hardware supplies at a local shop. If you hate this guy's opinions so much, why would you want to support his shop anyway? Wouldn't that actually be harmful? Saying "no gays allowed" in a business should be as offensive to Christians as telling Christians they must provide goods and services to religious ceremonies they view as an affront to God. Yeah, sure, but the available evidence says people do find that offensive. Effectively, no businesses in this country, Christian-owned or otherwise, say "no gays allowed." This is microscopically rare, which is exactly why we have to go all the way to an unincorporated small town in rural Tennessee just to find one example to amplify into national news. This is why the cake decision was empowering to bigots. Was it, though? This guy was putting up his sign before the decision, and he's still putting it up after. The decision had no effect on his empowerment. And Justice Kennedy, writing for the majority, didn't take this guy's side. In fact, if you read the opinion, he said quite the opposite. He said states are free to outlaw this type of discrimination if they want to. Quote, "It is unexceptional that Colorado law can protect gay persons, just as it can protect other classes of individuals in acquiring whatever products they choose on the same terms and conditions as are offered to other members of the public." So if you're mad at what's going on in Tennessee, get mad at Tennessee. Not Justice Kennedy for saying Tennessee is free to write laws on this issue if they wish. And maybe Tennessee will, that's up to them. For now, I'll make the case that if you actually care about defeating anti-gay attitudes and anti-gay discrimination, you shouldn't write a law. You should let exactly what's happening play out freely. Let this hardware shop owner exercise his First Amendment rights, and let everyone else exercise their rights to support his business or not. Let me start with an important premise. You're not going to change this guy's mind. Listen to him explain his perspective on the court decision, his religion, and serving gay people.
I was shocked. I was really shocked because of the track record of our Supreme Court. Right now, we're seeing a ray of sunshine. This is happy days for Christians all over America. But dark days will come. Christianity's under attack. This is a great win, don't get me wrong. But this is not the end. This is just the beginning.
That is a mind that believes what it believes, as it is constitutionally entitled, controlling his thoughts and opinions, in addition to being morally and philosophically wrong, is a practical impossibility. No law is going to change his mind. Tennessee can write a law, the federal government can write a law, the Supreme Court can rule, but this is a man who believes sincerely that homosexuality is a sin, and he is never going to want to associate with it. Let me give you another important premise. Based on what this guy is saying, I probably don't want to associate with him. I don't want to be friends, and I don't want to support his business. Maybe you do, or maybe you're like me and you don't, but the only way we can make that judgment for ourselves is if we let him speak. Not if we silence him. So let's say we pass a law tomorrow to force this guy to take down his sign and to serve gay people. The problem is, you haven't actually changed his mind. You haven't changed his beliefs. You're just forcing him to hide them, and you're potentially tricking yourself into supporting them financially. If I need hardware in eastern Tennessee and the law has forced this guy to take down his sign, I stroll in there and I buy some hardware when I probably wouldn't have if I had more information about this guy's views. But he still holds those views regardless. In that scenario, you haven't actually changed or eliminated the bigotry. You've just hidden it such that you can't see it and avoid it easily if you so choose. And that's really the point. Remember, anytime you're forcing someone to serve you against his will, you're also forcing yourself, at least indirectly, into a transaction you might not actually support. If you actually care about bigotry and discrimination, you shouldn't force it into hiding. You should allow it sunlight where you can see it clearly and avoid it easily. You won't change this guy's mind with laws. You won't change his beliefs. You'll only fool yourself into supporting those beliefs unknowingly. You don't solve this problem with coercion. You solve it with freedom. His freedom to run his business as he sees fit, and your freedom to say, you know what, no thank you. I think I'll get my hardware supplies elsewhere. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on Twitter. That is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to come hang out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.